Oops. Just give me a sec, guys. Something's not going right. Sorry. Oh. If this is going live, I'm sorry, because Facebook is not going very beginning. Hello, you know what it is that I've learned from my notes? Very clearly I haven't done it, but fuck, could it be it's not streaming to Facebook? Is this an issue? Let's try it again, shall we? Hello there. Welcome to Vinyl Junkies. Episode 20, Why Vinyl Matters. Vinyl Junkies, our passion is music. Our format is vinyl. Why? Because every record tells a story. I hope you guys are doing well. And I hope our American friends had a good Thanksgiving. What it is that I've learned through doing this broadcast is... you're never going to get it 100% right. It's never going to happen. So what you do is you just kind of roll with the punches. Just like David Lee Roth taught me, you got to roll with the punches to get to what's real. Oh, can't you see me standing there? I got the... Oh, what you do what I mean. Oh, Maxwell jump. Yeah. So yeah, that's the deal, right? It's not like I haven't been trying to make this show better. It's just that I'm a dumbass. Look, the technical things are always going to go wrong at one point or another. So I figure, you know what? Instead of freaking out over it, just fuck it. We have a very good shoe this week. First of all, we'll go over the stats as we usually do. Then, I guess in my This Week in Vinyl column, what I'm going to do is... share a conversation I had with you and about vinyl, okay? And I'd love to hear your comments and get your input on it. And what else? Give you news on Ben Blackwell. And then, look, I have some reviews. This week, they all happen to come from the same label, Modern Harmonic Records. And I can't wait to tell you about the record about witchcraft, recorded by a witch, and then a talking horse, and how he made a record, and the first gay record ever. These are stories that are coming straight ahead, coming literally and figuratively straight ahead, dear friends. But do you know who it is that brings you this fantabulous content? Vinyl Me Please does. The best gosh darn record club ever. Do you guys have the Miles Davis record from the 60s, Sorcerer, around 67 or so? Second Great Quintet. That's the record of the month this month. So you might want to look at that. It's going to be a very good one. If you guys want to win a prize, like always, you know that we give away prizes. So it's pretty simple. All you need to do is go visit the Vinyl Me Please site, which it is that I'll put up on the screen right now. And you're going to see some records there and a whole bunch of things. Pick an item. Pick just one item. The link is below. And tell us what you want. If you share this content, if you share it with your friends or whatever, we will pick a winner. So that's to say that last week I wasn't able to pick a winner. We're going to pick two this week, one from last week and one from 2 weeks ago. And there you go. Vinyl Me Please, the best damn record club ever. Org Music, shining new light on modern, on late-ass recordings from a long time ago, from yesteryear. The shit that your Uncle Zeke used to listen to on Sun Records. You know, all those rockabilly freaks? That's what I'm talking about. Taking Hank Williams and bringing it to the next rock and roll level. Sun Records. And CTI Records, which is just the slicker than slick jazz catalog. Go visit CTI Records and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Then we're talking about Vinyl Style, who makes these, look at these products. Products. Shit's missing from there. You know why? Can I tell you why? Because I use it all the time. Vinyl Style. Modern solutions for your vinyl problems. Vinyl Style solves everything. So, it's been quite the week. It's been a fun week. Actually, you know what? I don't know. It's been a difficult week. But fun. Here it is where I'm trying to kind of like figure out where I'm going to go next with this. Okay, why don't we talk about the stats? Second biggest week ever in terms of stats. 52,000, maybe 53 by now, thousand watched our videos last week, and 53,000 is very much the high water mark in the past. So we've either just fallen right below or just above. Once again, believe it or not, mi jefes, the Mexican contingent is strong. The Italian contingent, it is strong, fortissimo. So now we don't have just Lombardia, we got Lazio also around Rome. And Italian people are starting to watch. So, un gran piacere. Benvenuto. And, yeah. All you American people are always there. But you know what? I kind of figured the show's probably not going to do too well. I was actually thinking to myself, should I do one? Because you guys are probably still sleeping off your turkey and kind of taking care of all the bruises from Black Friday. For anybody crazy enough to actually weather those lines. Me, I don't do Black Friday. Not because I don't support the industry. I support it 100% and buy tons of records, but I don't have patience for lines. It's as simple as that. So, you know, everybody fighting for the same record. The reason it is that I can't stand fucking going outside is because people are rude. You know how it is, right? You try to be nice. You try to smile to people. You open a door for someone and they go through the door and they don't even say thanks. They don't even fucking acknowledge you. It's like, do I got fucking doorman stapled on my head? And if I do, give me a tip at least. So I'm a little bit of a prick, right? It's this passive-aggressive thing. With a big smile, I'll look at them and I'll say, bienvenue, which is to say, or you're welcome, you know, because this isn't about music, is it? It doesn't matter. I'm going to make it about music. I will, I promise. So yeah, that's the stats. And I'm not sure why it is that I talked about bad manners, but bad manners is such a pet peeve of mine. Okay, I guess what we'll do is we'll give you a little bit of an update on the Ben Blackwell situation. You remember I told you that there would be a what's in my cart or what's in your cart coming up with the venerable Benwell of Third Man Records. That is still happening. It's just last week, this week that just passed, Thanksgiving, you know. People travel, everyone's rushing. So we're putting it off until this week, and we will definitely have that happening. Can't wait. It's going to be a good one, right? What else do I need to tell you? Okay, I guess I'll get into my story. Oh, by the way, just reviews. Like I said, Weird Records, GUNDELLA, Love is a Drag. I've said all of that, right? Guys, you want to win something? Visit that Vinyl Me Please page right there. Go pick a record. I'll flip through a little bit to kind of give you an idea. Lots of good goodies to choose from. You share this video, you go pick your records, and what it is that I will do is I will pick one of you as winners. Does that sound cool? Yes, it sounds cool. All right, so a huge part of the show for me is telling you guys what it is that happened in the week. I mean, it's not just a matter of trying to do vinyl news because, I mean, you can get vinyl news everywhere, and there are kind of sites that already do that and do it well. So, you know, Vinyl Junkies is very much a community. So the personal aspect, I think, is what it is that makes the vinyl, is what it is that makes the community. And, it's interesting how that's a fact that just doesn't even come across. Like, a lot of people in the record industry themselves don't seem to get it at all. And I'll kind of share an example of that with you, if you don't mind. You're going to excuse me, if you can, please, for drinking as much as I'm drinking. It's just, you can probably hear a little bit of hoarseness, because, well, I'm still getting over that same fucking cold. I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, which is to say that I don't want to go see any doctor, and I don't feel like wasting my time on clinics or that type of thing. So what it is that I do is, I don't know, I fucking torture myself until the disease goes away, instead of taking, what are you supposed to take for this? Antibiotics, penicillin, who the fuck knows anymore? So yeah, look, I know that a lot of you have shared the sentiment that if it wasn't for music, or if it wasn't for Vinyl Junkies, or if it wasn't for just a few things, you wouldn't be on Facebook at all. I understand that sentiment. It's heavy, you know, and Facebook is a job for me. So Vinyl Junkies is a job, and I say that with absolute pride. Why? Because people are here. You know, we all want to connect. Of course, there's negative things to anything, but you know what? It's a fucking weapon, right? And it's like social media's, I'm not going through this again, the whole fucking mirror thing. So, what I did was I posted something on my timeline. One of the things that I face pretty regularly in trying to put together this market that we call Vinyl Junkies. I contend that you guys are the best vinyl market on the internet. I really believe that. When you're getting oh wow, nearly 200,000 of you watch the videos every week, right? I'm so fucking high I don't remember what I'm gonna say anymore. It's just you start coughing and boom, everything kind of wakes up. So I lose my train of thought for God and baby Jesus' sake. God and baby Jesus. And I don't have any fucking lozenges. I got this tube of water. And I got to drink from it, you know? Why? Because listening to somebody drink during a podcast is really entertaining. So yeah. All of that. You see how it is that ad lib brought me back to my point? I'm going to get back to my point. My point is that I post stuff, and it's mostly vinyl related. It's mostly music related. I share my real life with my real people around me, you know, so selfies and all that kind of stuff. And I'm at this restaurant and that restaurant. Listen, I love the fact that you're at a restaurant, but I don't care, okay? So it's generally just music related for me. Would anybody like a Tic Tac? Tic Tacs. It's not about bad breath, even though that's there too. It's about getting some saliva action happening. You know, I can't, I mean, I'm not going to get gross. I was gonna say, I can't just get my wife to come down and spit in my mouth. But then I figured it's like, wait a second, that's really rude, right? So I'm glad I didn't say it ultimately. So I posted something that happens to me week after week after week, all the time. Decided to make a joke of it, because, I mean, what are you supposed to do? It is a joke, right? So, hey, can we email you some download codes to review on Vinyl Junkies? Because that happens just this week, and I promise it'll happen next week and the week after. And I mean, look, I didn't even bother answering, because what the fuck are you supposed to answer to that anyway, right? So, but I posted it up, and, you know, you guys got a laugh out of it and whatever. It was supposed to start some kind of a discussion. And an old-time Facebook friend, I guess, Chris Cousins, guitarist of Slowmatics. Fantastic band out of Ireland. You know, we've been friends for a while, since even before his daughter was born. Mine was just a tiny little kid. An amiable fellow, just basically as I was giving these, like as I was getting into the thread, I guess at one point I had said, well, look, you know, if I'm going to review a car, if you're going to go to somebody who reviews cars, you don't ask them to play a game of Forza Motorsport, right? It's just, you got to review the car. To which our friend Chris had said, well, look, you know, I think you're missing the point altogether. Music is music. The music is really the primary thing. It's the most important thing. And I've heard this before, actually. Twice that I interviewed the Melvins, that's basically something that they say almost from the get-go. You realize that it's just the music. And for me, it's like, well, of course, it's just the music, but that's a little bit besides the point. Okay, and I'll tell you why the argument doesn't work, right? So Chris came back and said, well, look, you know, it seems to me like what it is that you're focusing is on having somebody deliver you the car, you know, and it's like, wait. Vinyl Junkies is exactly about that. Now, if you're talking about music in general, it's one thing, right? But I don't know. Hey, you know what? Hey, I think you should buy the latest model Ferrari. You know why? I personally test drove it on fucking Forza Motorsport or whatever. What other racing games are there? It's not the same thing. That's not to say that I guess what it is that everyone's always trying to say is, look, you know what? You guys focus too much on the product. And that's absolutely not what the issue is here. The issue is that the product enhances a musical experience for us. It's not just one thing. And I mean, you would think that it's the most easy thing to understand, right? We don't have one sense. Our sense of hearing isn't the only thing. When you can smell an old record, or look at it, touch it, all this, that's what it's about. And to say that that's just, you know, it's all about the music is kind of like saying, well, look, it's just about food, right? Well, look, if it's just about food, then tell me something. How tasty? Of course, vegetarians and vegans are already going to go, but how tasty is it to have the most beautiful fucking porterhouse steak on your plate? But you know what? We're going to remove the trimmings. You can't smell it. You can't, you can look at it and eat it. You understand what I'm saying? The package is important because the package is what we use when we're sitting down. So when I have a record like this, looking at it, that's what we're buying. If you're going to do a review, you're reviewing that entire experience. Some record labels have kind of that, you know, colored vinyl. Some people take the gimmick too far, and you can feel it. Other people, you can see that the gimmick, if you want to call it that, or colored vinyl and everything, fits within an entire concept, which we saw with St. Vincent. All this is to say that you guys buy the records, right? If you guys are buying the records, then you're buying something. You're not just buying the music. Because if that's the case, then you'd go out and get MP3s, right? But, yeah, that's kind of what happened. And I'm absolutely not feeling this story, so I'm going to cut it real short, and I'm going to go straight to my reviews, if you don't mind. Not feeling it today. Not feeling it. Let's see if I catch it up. Let's see if I catch that feeling again, because if I don't, then I'm just going to turn off the camera. But, you know what? It's been stressful, guys. It's so difficult to make this into what it is that I want to make it because it's never been done before. In this way, at least. Of course, live broadcasts, right? Of course, reviews. But the idea of doing it within a community, this is our thing. And once we get the live callers in, the idea of just putting that in as well. You have this idea and sometimes you just want it to get to the end. Right? And I would say that, look, the camera came on only in May, not long ago. And it's come a long way, but it's not where it needs to be yet. And it causes an extreme amount of anxiety, stress. And when you have, I don't know, musicians who don't understand the value of it, I guess it's kind of like that's where it is that you see that you have even more work to do. How can I tell you? Ebooks are nice. An ebook is not a regular book. to have that, to kind of, I don't know, I guess to have heard from a musician that it's all music, and from a musician who, you know, who sells vinyl, was kind of disappointing, but really helpful. Because it's disappointing because they're selling the product. They're putting the money behind it, and they understand that that's what it is that they're trying to do, on the one hand. On the other hand, you know, it's all about the music, and it's like, that's not what you're selling, because if it was just the music, people would just stream you, you understand? When people are buying vinyl, it's a certain market. These are people that will spend money, they want a certain experience, okay? And that's what gives you that experience, that immersive experience. So, it's not like I don't know, but I guess it kind of saddens me. Not even saddens me, that's not even fair. It's just, I know full well that people don't get it, no matter how many people buy records, or I've dedicated my whole life to this. And it's just music. Isn't it at all? It's just a product? No, not at all. It's an artifact. You remember the things that you did with these records. There's memories that get attached to this stuff. And I've seen it increasingly that even within the industry, people that are selling the stuff don't fucking understand it. Okay? You want to hear the worst thing I've ever heard? This is how much, right? Okay? One guy of a fairly prominent band, and I won't name names because I never name names. Okay? I don't think that's the point, but just to kind of give you the idea of what an uphill battle it is to develop a channel in something like Vinyl Junkies. A guy who owns a record label tells me, hey, you know what? Let me make you a deal. What it is that I'm going to do is you can sell my records, okay? Through your website. And for every record that you manage to sell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you $1. Once you make enough money, once you have enough sales, I'm going to give you your record. It's beyond imbecilic. This person actually owns a record label also. Now the thing is that I'm going to keep coming up with this. You know why? Because in order for people to see this kind of a thing as a channel, okay, that to see you guys as, hey, wait a second, every one of you guys that are here, you all buy records. These people want to sell records to you. They can't buy something they don't know, right? So they need, I mean, I can't just fucking play the music. I can't do it. That's not Vinyl Junkies anymore. But the fact that I have to do that, just kind of like fucking puts it face to face at the challenge, okay? That trying to make $1 in music is almost impossible, even from this end, right? Because people don't see the value of it. Not even within the community, they don't see the value, okay? If you appreciate art like this, or if you appreciate a show like this, you support it, right? It's supported by sponsors. We tell you about the records. You do what you want, but anyway, long way to go, and before Vinyl Junkies ever becomes what it is that I want it to be. And believe me, I'm a stubborn guy. It's never going to fucking stop, and I will continue to do it forever, okay? But before it becomes what it is that I want it to become, I got a long fucking way. And if you think that, you know, yeah, I'm fortunate enough to listen to music, talk about music, and play with records all the time, but make no mistake, man, it's a job. I treat the catalog back there like John Peel treated his own archive. And I miss critics like Lester Bangs. I miss people who took music seriously, who, I don't know, music journalism, I guess. And I don't consider Fantano music journalism, and I don't consider stuff like Pitchfork really music. I don't know. Maybe I just miss old radio, you know. But this entire thing, I know you guys are just kind of like, follow me. Just follow me on the ride. I don't even know myself where I'm going. And every once in a while, you're going to get a hold of a shitty show like this one, okay, where my mind goes all over the place and I'm not focusing properly. But you guys, man, I respect you guys as the audience, and I will continue to work until we will get you the best records, and I'm stopping this. This is fucking horrible. I'm having a complete meltdown right in front of the camera. Not a real meltdown. I kind of accept the fact that I've said absolutely nothing during this show, but it's very distressing. So I'm going to continue. You guys, you know where it is that you can have fun? Okay? I'll tell you where you can have fun. You can feel comfortable with the thought that what's happening right here is 100% authentic, and I may very well, at the end of this show, ladies and gentlemen, have some kind of fucking nervous breakdown, because I'm not even sure myself anymore. Okay? But we're going to try to make it happen. Why don't we review some records? All the records that I got is from, for you this week, is from a package from a label called Modern Harmonic. I had met Bob Irwin of Sundazed Music at the Vinyl Conference in Detroit. He was one of the people that was there and spoke about his label, and I'm a long time fan of Sundazed records. When these records came in, I expected a Sundazed package. To see it, the imprint under a different moniker, you know, Modern Harmonic, it was the first time I ever saw it. Playing the records, I began understanding immediately, because every record has a story. Okay, and the label immediately became one of my very favorite labels for the simple reason that it told a story, and somebody had the balls to take something as obscure as some of these records that I'm going to be telling you right now, put the money behind them, and try to tell the story. A lot of the records that you're going to be seeing right now are, why do I love them as much as I do? Because there's a story behind them, and the story is fucking brilliant, man. GUNDELLA is probably the first one. That's what I'm going to show you right now. That's what you're seeing at the bottom. This GUNDELLA record, why don't we go there first? And give me 1 second. Here you go. Check this, man. The Hour of the Witch. This is something that Modern Harmonic put out just the week of Halloween, I believe. And you can't ask for a better record. Just to kind of give you a little bit of the inside. This is the deal with it. You're going to love this story. I hope I don't miss too many points, but if I get some of them, it should be good. GUNDELLA is a real-life live witch who was not born with the name GUNDELLA. She was born with another name altogether. Her first name was Marion Cooklow. That's actually her married name. Okay, and she lived in Detroit. Now, she was raised Protestant. Right, I'll try to ad-lib as much as possible. She was raised Protestant, but her parents also raised her in a Wiccan witchcraft, okay, because she had traced her lineage back to Scotland since the 15th and 16th century. So she comes from a very long family of witches, right? And there are different kind of witches, different color witches. She is what she calls a green witch. So these witches, what it is that they'll do a lot of the times is that they will adorn themselves with the food colorings, or they will practice their rituals with the food colorings of the type of witch that they represent. In this case, the green witch from 15th or 16th century Scotland. Okay, she lives in Detroit, this woman. Okay, and she's normal life, but she becomes an elementary school teacher. Normal, right? Just a normal Detroit woman who's teaching elementary school. Eventually winds up, I believe, at a party. Is that what wound up happening? Was it a party? She believed in magic, reincarnation, and the fact that there's a universal power source within us all. Yeah, okay, so there you go. Around 40 years old, during Halloween. Check this fucking Halloween. I wish I had this record for Halloween because it's perfect for it. Okay. On Halloween 1969, she goes to a party and she meets a professor, a university professor, who winds up giving her a gig, finds her story interesting and winds up giving her a gig, and she becomes a teacher of witchcraft and kind of like a local celebrity overnight. From there, local, once again, from there, she puts out books on witchcraft. And she even comes out with a column, not too dissimilar to Dear Abby or Ann Landers or that kind of thing, right? Called The Witch Watch. What it is that it was is a local advice column, but that would deal with things from the Wiccan or from the witchcraft point of view. So some articles are, I don't know, Crimea River, and she starts talking about the importance of tears. And believe me, tears are very important to GUNDELLA. That's why it is that I'm so fucking chuffed about this record. Where is it? I love you so much, GUNDELLA. I love you. I love you, GUNDELLA. You fat, gorgeous woman. I love you. All right, so her original name wasn't GUNDELLA. What happened was she started studying, right? She was studying Protestantism and a little bit of Wiccan. Eventually, the only way that you can become a witch, supposedly, is that you have to join a coven, right? So at the age of 18, she joined a coven for the first time, and it is there that she shed her human name of Marion, whatever the fuck her name was. Was she married? I don't know. Cooklow may have been a married name, but she shed her earthly name and just became known as GUNDELLA. So, and the story does get better. The Witch Watch. You see how I told you about that too? Okay, so now, this is one of the records that comes out. We're going to talk about the actual music. What is it? I swear I wish I could play this thing for you because it's not music at all. Basically, it's GUNDELLA telling you about witchcraft and what makes witchcraft. She gives you a little bit of background on her, so, you know, it's just... And she talks kind of... You've seen Poltergeist? It's a combination of that little old poltergeist woman, right, in the movie, in the Steven Spielberg flick, and for you Howard Stern fans, the underdog lady. A little bit of combination between both of them, because when she talks like this, and she's kind of got this soft sing-songy thing, as she's talking about how she is a witch, and she knows that lots of people don't believe in witchcraft, but her mother was a witch, and her mother's mother, and her grandmother's grandmother, and she starts talking this way, and tells you what constitutes witchcraft and what doesn't. Now, much like we do in the music industry, she starts getting into fake witches, right? Oh, no, that's not real. No, you're not real metal. You're fake metal. This is real. Death to false metal. So GUNDELLA is death to false witchcraft. She doesn't care what you call it. Call yourself a warlock. Call yourself an unicorn. Call yourself whatever. But don't call yourself a witch. Very, very offended. And what happens when she becomes offended is her voice kind of changes, and there's this urgency, and all of a sudden that's where the underdog lady, Susan Muldowney, comes into the voice, and it's the most fucking mind-blowing awesome thing, especially if you're a fan of Howard Stern. Pure whack pack, right? So, once she's telling you about everything that's going on here, the second side of the record, she gives you specific witchcraft spells that you can conjure for yourself, and because in her belief, everybody has the power to channel. So what she's going to do is, you don't have to be a witch. I mean, she's a real witch, right? But even if, she's going to show you what to do in order to get your desire. And she gives 3 different wishes. One is to attract a lover. One is to get a lover to fuck off, or just get somebody who, you know, is coming after you to fuck off, like, and I forgot what the other one is. But what I'll do is I'll focus on some of the things that you can do in order to attract a lover if you want. Okay, the first thing that she tells you is you need a candle. Okay, now, a specific candle. It's a molded candle. It can't be, I forgot what the other type of candle was called. It can't be that. It's a molded candle, and this candle, the reason it needs to be a molded candle is because you're going to need to cut it. And if it's the other type of candle, it kind of chips off. So this, a molded candle, is something that you can kind of just slice through, you know, like cheese, like a slice of cheese, right? So what GUNDELLA wants you to do is take this candle and cut it in 10 different pieces, I believe. Okay. And with this candle, you're supposed to burn one segment, and the pieces have to be equal. You're supposed to burn one segment of the candle all the time. And during the time, actually, what you also want to do is during this time, it's very important, the person whose love you're trying to get, what you need to do is try, if they have a color that they like, maybe just kind of like add it to the wax so that it kind of takes on that essence. Now, in order for the spell to work also is you need a personal belonging, right? So what she wants you to do as you burn this candle is, and it gets creepy here, but, she's creepy, but not the creepy kind of creepy, but, she just kind of casually says, well, look, get an article from the person that you can have, maybe a little bit of blood, some tears, a lock of hair. But, she makes, and she repeats tears or blood a couple of times because clearly that's really the best thing in the world. And you're supposed to have that around as you burn these candles. Now she has further instructors, because these types of spells aren't for any posers. Oh, no siree, Bob. You need to fucking completely commit to this. So what she tells you then is, for those 10 days, you need to give up something, okay? You need to give up something. Don't smoke. Don't do whatever you need to do. Just give it up, because it's kind of like Lent, but for witches, because as you repeat this incantation, I forgot what the incantation is. You're supposed to be hungry and you're supposed to fast and you're supposed to make some kind of a sacrifice, because it's that sacrifice that makes it work. I know I'm mixing up two different spells, but because you guys don't fucking know, I'm going to take all the interesting part of two spells, maybe three, and tell you why it is that you should buy this record. So now, after you've burnt this candle 10 days in a row, there's another piece of wax that you're supposed to take that you form into a figure that looks like the person that you're trying to get to fall in love with you. And you don't have to be a sculptor. She makes, but try to make it look exactly in the same way. And if you can, while you're making this and the other candles are burning, make sure that you put a bit of personal effect to yourself also. If you can, cry a few tears, because those tears are magical, much like unicorns. And those tears is what it is that give the spell that potency, that shows the spell how much you love. And the fact that you're able to repeat these incantations 10 days in a row, right, shows how committed you are to the entire thing. And actually what she wants you to do also with the little doll, right, that you made that contains like the blood or tears. I mean, I'm assuming vomit and piss would work as well. It's just as intimate, right? What it is that she wants you to do with this doll is you need to put it somewhere where the prospective lover will go right over it. Okay. Now, in the past, what they used to do is they used to take these dolls and they used to dig them over the path that the lover would come from, so that they wouldn't know and they'd walk right over. Now, obviously, now the roads are paved, so you can't do that. So you see, GUNDELLA, she's very, very much a hip cat. She brings it to the future, which is the 70s at this point, and says, we can't do that. So what you need to do is this doll, place it somewhere where you know she's going to walk over. Okay, so if you can, place it under her porch. Okay, or a car seat. Break into her car and place it right under the car seat. And that's what it is that'll make your wish come true. And if you do all of this and you've got the tears and the blood and you give up something like Lent, then you will fall in love. While all of this is going on, there's this kind of eerie, creepy organ music in the background played by her son, which just takes the entire experience over the top. You would think that it's kind of like a novelty record, and that's what I love about what modern harmonic is doing. They are novelty records, but they are so well curated that I'm going to listen to this record again. I've listened to it 4 or 5 times, and I'm so fascinated by it. You can hear the irritation in her voice. Again, kind of like Dog Lady when she starts talking about people who aren't completely committed to the craft. Now, GUNDELLA's met a very untimely end. Another interesting thing, right? Where is it that she starts talking about, where does she get her start as an author and a witch per se, for real, or a professional witch? On Halloween, right? 1969. Fast forward to, I believe, Halloween 1999. She's at a party with her husband, who is also a Wiccan, I guess a warlock. I don't know what the fuck he is, but she's married to another one. Okay, and at the end of this party, supposedly they were seen and they were dancing. Everything was fine. And at one point, when they wake up on October 31st, Halloween, her family finds her on her bed, stabbed to death 3 times. And the person that they eventually arrested for that was her husband. So her husband killed his witch on Halloween, who became a witch. But you follow what I'm saying? Kind of weird story. And that, my friends, is the story of GUNDELLA. Just about the best thing you'll ever see. The liner notes are really good. Like I said, it's really kind of like an old chapbook style. And it works because I'm assuming that that's the way the original record came out. The original record, I don't know the exact date because they never really did put it out. But this one came out around Halloween of last year. If you can see it. It's an interesting one, all right? What it is that I'll do now is go on and we'll talk about the second record that I really loved, which is called Love is a Drag. And let me change the graphic for this one. Yeah, there you go. Love is a Drag. For adult listeners only. Sultry stylings by a most unusual vocalist. What makes this record interesting is that, for all intents and purposes, it would seem that any person who's actually studied this, seems to point to this particular record as the first outwardly gay record. Of course, it comes with a story behind all of that. Or outwardly gay, but, for mass consumption record, if you want. There's always been double entendres in music. Okay, so, I mean, if it goes way back to the blues in the 20s. So, when you're talking about people like Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey, these chicks liked themselves some pussy. So, they would sing about it. But it was kind of like in an offhand way, never really direct. Now, the story behind this record is the story of a photographer whose name doesn't come to mind because the name doesn't matter, but he used to be a photographer for Life magazine back in the 40s. And he photographed, prominent artists like Frank Sinatra and Marilyn Monroe and Bob Hope, all the stars of their time. Life magazine was really one of the largest magazines of the time, right? So, at one point in 1946, one of his friends takes him to a bar. So they walk into this bar, and as they're having their drink, a well-dressed gentleman, just goes up on stage and starts singing standards like The Man I Love. What are the other names of the songs? These are really good, but just standards that have been sung by people like Ella Fitzgerald and Dinah Shore and Billie Holiday, right? Just to give you, He's Funny That Way. There you go. Lover Man. The Boy Next Door. The Man I Love, right? And this stuck with the photographer. It's like, wait a sec. He's singing about songs and not hiding, not obscuring the fact that, he keeps the he's in the song and he's singing directly to men. Now, these songs have been interpreted by men as well over the years, including Frank Sinatra, but they always changed the lyrics so that they made it she when it's necessary, he, to make the lyrics basically heterosexual. So this happens in 46. He just kind of like realizes, his friend tells him, well, look, yeah, we're in a gay bar. And he didn't know. Just sticks in his head somehow. Move forward a decade, I believe, maybe a little bit longer, and one of his friends decides he's going to start a record label and asks him, hey, you have any cool ideas? And he immediately thought of this gay bar where this gentleman was singing about the man he loves and not hiding the lyrics. So he gives the guy his idea, and he bought it. Now, they didn't know where to get a singer for this, right? They wind up getting a singer. Another fun part about this is fun, or really just a sign of the times. The original record, I believe, was released in '62, but although it's a record that is kind of sort of geared towards the gay market, which is to say that they don't obscure the words. It's sung by a man for men. They never really outwardly say that it's a gay record. And even the picture on the record, you'll notice the face is obscured in the background. You never really know. It winds up being a huge collector's item. And the thing is that the music is fabulous. Okay, the way it is that I could complain, I'm pretty sure I used fabulous because I'm trying to seem a little bit more metrosexual, you know? But it's sung seriously, and it's sung in earnest. And the musicians backing it are all crack musicians of their time during the 60s, like really high professional recording standards. The record sounds amazing. But nobody put their name on it because of the gay thing, right? So what it is that they would do is they can't do that, right? Because if they put the gay thing on, they'd be killing a huge part of their market. So they just kind of put it there, and they didn't have much advertising. And they just let the record speak for itself. And what would wind up happening is that, you know, homosexuals of the time would buy 6 copies at once and just buy the records. And it kind of like became popular through word of mouth because it was still extremely taboo in order to talk about. Other interesting things is everyone who's on the record is not gay. Everyone on the record is straight. Or at least that's how the legend goes. Listen, it's not like I interviewed the guys myself, but the guys are straight. Okay. As a matter of fact, the singer at one point wasn't sure about whether he wanted the topic, wanted to sing this way, right? He wasn't sure because he had a career to think about and he had a family. More importantly, for him, it's like this is his job. He makes a living as a professional singer. He didn't want to destroy his family, you know. And his wife just asked him if the material would be treated with dignity, to which he responded, well, it's not a joke. So as soon as, you know, he kind of got his wife's okay, the way it is that they approached it is he decided to go ahead with the product, but no credits were ever given. Okay? It's only years later, right? During a radio show, just give me 1 second and I'll try to come up with the name. It's really worth... There you go. This record is known as basically the first full-length recording of male-to-male love songs. Okay, I told you about the story in 1946. I'm just trying to take it a little bit further. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Gay waiters and car hops started buying the records. Okay. What would happen also is the way it gained a little bit of notoriety. I even knew that the way it is that it gained a little bit of notoriety is Garrett would bring it to, you know, the stars that he photographed, like Frank Sinatra. And supposedly legend has it that when Frank Sinatra heard this record, he bought a dozen of them immediately. Bob Hope supposedly is to have freaked out over the record and really loved it. And during a photo shoot with Liberace, the photographer was playing the record in the background, and so enamored did Liberace become with the record that he basically stole it. He took it off the turntable and just brought it with him, and it quickly became one of his absolute favorite records. So it's interesting to see that it was embraced. Even then, there's this counterculture thing to a pretty straight arrow approach to the music, except for, you know, man-on-man vocals. And when you look at people like Frank Sinatra was definitely pretty progressive. And, you know, his mom was a politician. His mom was a very, very strong influence on Sinatra's life, so he had a healthy respect for women. And he had a healthy respect for, you know, the gay culture as well. And so that's the story behind Love is a Drag. A few years later, a DJ becomes obsessed because they can't find who's this artist. Eventually, a letter comes to the guy's door, and they get a connection and finally figure out who the singer is. And it's only then that he kind of finds out that there were no gay people on the record at all. So that, I would say, is the story of Love is a Drag. The other story I wanted to tell you about, real short, I'm going to cut it right after this Sun Ra thing, is Sun Ra Thunder. This is another record from Modern Harmonic, and lately, if you go to record stores, you're going to notice that there's a lot of Sun Ra in the bins. What's happened previously is a lot of this stuff's been pirated like crazy. Sun Ra used to record every show, everything, very much like Zappa. And it was a commune, right? Not unlike what happened with, what's his name, Captain Beefheart, but this is even further. These guys didn't just lock themselves up in a room, but they would study and hang out with each other 12 hours a day and fuck with each other and have families with each other and make food for each other. Whoa, that's a weird noise. And when they traveled, it just became this big commune of people who just made a joyful noise. This is the period of Sun Ra where you hear that joyful noise. It was recorded during the early 70s, and it's very freaked out. So those of you that are looking for, let's say, music, you know, for a melody or a harmony, you might want to keep away from this one, because this one's got John Gilmore and all of the, you know, types of players that just were part of Sun Ra's clique. And they, I mean, listen, although it sounds like they're just screeching and just singing crazy lyrics out of nowhere, the stuff was still very well rehearsed. These musicians knew each other's every move. And it's off of that they were spontaneous, but it seemed like everything was placed, you know, like there were cues and all. Here you see them at their best, and it's really well recorded. And the thing I like most is that it's not pirated. What's been happening over the last little while is that the surviving members of Sun Ra have been finally getting into the legalities of making sure that they can get paid from the catalog that they worked on. So we're seeing a lot of this stuff, and we're probably going to see other recordings as well. I know that there was one available for Black Friday. This is not the same one, but what the fuck is this record called? I gotta pull it out. Sun Ra, Thunder of the Gods. Yeah. First time on vinyl on top of that. So that's my story. I have actually one more story, because I'll keep it short, but I really should, because you old-timey folk, you remember Mr. Ed, the talking horse? This record is a record of folk songs with a space theme sung by Mr. Ed. Yes, the horse. That's the horse. So the voice of Mr. Ed is who is singing this, and it comes out with way out and far out song titles like Radioactive Mama, Rocket to the Moon, Girl in the Fourth Dimension. You kind of get the idea, right? Big Brother, Free Fall, and it's weird stuff. The lyrics, not the lyrics, but the lyrics are obviously all space themed, but it's kind of, again, a novelty record, but you're seeing almost like the beginnings of stuff like rockabilly, and it's got this weird folk, and the voice is really quite weird, especially if you know who Mr. Horse is. Another thing that I found out about the singer Sherman Allen is he wrote the lyrics and the music, and actually sang, you remember the song to the movie George of the Jungle? Watch out for that tree. That's him. So another wacko, weirdo type of record is folk songs for the 21st century. Actually, the other little tidbit is one of the songs was featured on a one of the video games Fallout. So, you're going to catch that. If you like the old-timey kind of like Fallout thing, one of them comes from this. Other than that, guys, I think I'm done. I'm all burnt with the conversation and didn't really enjoy the show very much. I didn't think I did such a great job, so I'm sorry about that. I vow to be better next week. Hey, I didn't take the holiday though, right? Okay, so do we pick a winner? Listen, we need to pick 2 different winners, and that's what I'm going to pick right now from the last 2 weeks. Eric just gave me another 2 names, but we're going to pick the audience from the share list. Of course, I didn't write it out, so you're just going to have to give me a second for me to dig up that fucking list. Oh my God, why do I do this to myself all the time? I am so disorganized, folks. Next week is when it is that we're doing the show with Ben Blackwell of Third Man, by the way, just as I mentioned. All right, the winners. For episode 19, congratulations, Regina Frost, for having shared and commented. Regina Frost, you win a record courtesy of our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Just check the link. Pick your record. If you shared, you will get your pick. Congratulations. And for last week, or actually for What's in Your Cart, the person who liked and followed, commenting, we're looking at William Grissom. Okay, William Grissom, you win a record as well. Those of you that are sharing this right now, next week we're going to pick a winner, I promise. And like, share, do all the rest of that stuff. If you like the show, comment on the show. If you like the show, subscribe to the channel and do all of that bloody blah blah. And that's the end for today. Hope you guys had a good weekend, and